Remember Sunday? I want to get back to this Lincoln and slavery point. Since Obama likes to bring it up, I'm going to bring it up, and I'm going to expose him. Sunday, during the Super Bowl interview, this was Obama. Remember, at the time, we were just stunned at his lack of passion, lack of perspective, his unwillingness to add, very passé. He said this, cut 1A, go.
What I do insist on is that we maintain a proper perspective and that we do not provide a victory to these terrorist networks by overinflating their importance and suggesting in some fashion that they are an existential threat to the United States or the world order.
What if Lincoln had taken that position respecting slavery? This is not an existential threat. In fact, quite the contrary. If we don't relent on this issue, the Union will break into a bunch of disparate pieces. Why should I send hundreds of thousands of men to their death? This is not an existential threat, right, Mr. Obama? If Lincoln were you, with your mindset, facing genocide, this is how you respond? And then, at the National Prayer Breakfast today, he says this, cut forward.
In this mission, I believe there are a few principles that can guide us, particularly those of us who profess to believe. And first, we should start with some basic humility. I believe that the starting point of faith is some doubt. Not being so full of yourself and so confident that you are right and that God speaks only to us and doesn't speak to others.
Stop. Who says that? See, this is another trick of the left. They create these straw men. Did somebody say God only speaks to you and nobody else? Who says that? I mean, other than the Islamo-Nazis. Who says that? Nobody says that. And yet, that's us, apparently. We're claiming God only speaks to us. I think it's Obama who's hearing voices, quite frankly, and not God's. Just a thought. Go ahead.
He cares about us and doesn't care about others, that somehow we alone are in possession of the truth.
Yeah, he should talk. But anyway, so think about that. Abraham Lincoln turned to his faith as a Christian over and over and over again to sustain himself during the Civil War. He prayed to God repeatedly in his faith to help give him the power, the strength, the courage to keep on. He prayed that the war would come to an end. He prayed that the Union would exist. He prayed for the end of slavery. In his second inaugural address, he speaks to the Bible. Half of it is from the Bible. Would he have said what Obama just said right here? Never. Not a word of it. And so I ask you, we have Obama's own words, his own logic, or illogic, his own arguments. If Obama had been president and followed his own logic, despite what he says today about it, because he's schizophrenic about this today, but followed the logic that he spewed on Sunday and at the National Prayer Breakfast, it would have sounded something like this. Slavery has existed since the beginning of mankind. The Egyptians enslaved the Jews, the Romans enslaved the Christians, black tribes enslaved black tribes, Indian tribes enslaved Indian tribes, whites enslaved blacks, Asians enslaved Asians. No continent, no corner of the globe was unaffected. See, ladies and gentlemen, enlightenment didn't just happen. Religious reformation didn't just happen. Thousands of years of barbarism. And so to follow Obama's logic, if it had been the 1860s, one would have to conclude, okay, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? So there's slavery. What's the big deal? There's always been slavery, right? It's not an existential threat. We need to calm down here. What, do we think we're smarter than everybody else? What's this God talk and this Christian talk? Like we know everything. We don't know everything. Like we possess the truth. Other people possess the truth too.